Hello and welcome to Miniatures Rundown. I'm Mitchell.
I'm Joshua.
And today we are talking about the other half of Battle Forces, or the first half, I guess, depending on which video you watch first. Today it's 40k.
Or the only half, if you only care about 40k.
That's also true.
And probable, actually, statistically.
Statistically, that's fair enough. I've seen our sales.
So, 40k got how many? Six?
Six
boxes.
Which is still down from last year getting 10 or whatever they got.
4 of those were Marine chapters we don't count. And 2 of those boxes were bad.
That's true.
And
we're still selling, what, 3 weeks ago?
Yeah.
Anyway.
I think we still have a Raven Strike box back there.
Probably. But yes, this year we only got 1 Marines.
And I will say, lower quantity, higher quality with the boxes this year.
I agree.
Between both Age of Sigmar and 40k. So,
I completely agree.
With one notable exception, which is our number 6.
Yeah, Josh, what's your number 6?
Mitchell, what's the worst box?
Oh, it's clearly the Marines.
Games Workshop has entered in a bold new program to try and reduce the perception that they have favoritism for Marine players by releasing just the absolute worst freaking Battleforce anyone has ever seen.
It's really bad.
What's the hard numbers?
Hard numbers. So it is the worst money-wise.
How much?
$330 for a $230 box.
Yeah, because the 40k ones are $10 more than the Age of
more.
Sigmar ones.
Even though, well, they're a little bit better price-wise. But anyway, and 505 points. Also the worst.
By a
lot.
Now, the 40k boxes are fewer points than Age of Sigmar.
Yeah, just
That's
across the board.
More to 40k being fewer points across the board and everything, because
Yeah.
40k just wants you to have more models.
Yeah.
There are people who actually refer to Age of Sigmar as a almost skirmish game,
Oh, God, no.
which is not really true in my opinion, but 40k just uses more stuff. So don't compare these to the Age of Sigmar points, compare them within each other. Within each other, this is bad.
Yep.
And then, so you got bad value, bad points, and then what actually comes in this box?
1 Captain with Jump Pack, 1 Outriders box, which is the same kit from Indomitus, by the way.
They never got...
Never got multi-part kit.
Yeah.
And the Invader ATV, which is, okay, after it got nerfed in 9th edition, one of the worst models in Marines at the moment.
Yep.
And inexplicably, 3 units of Jump Pack Intercessors.
So I will say the after the latest round of points drops, the aggressive Marines need to be better points drops. Outriders and the Invader ATV have reached the point of being usable by virtue of being so flipping cheap for their stats.
Yeah, that's fair.
They have so much wounds for how much points you pay for them that they're actually usable.
Who cares if they die? There were only
And that's
75
how
points.
and that's how you use Outriders.
Yeah.
They kill light infantry and get places. You still don't bring the Invader ATV though. That
No, I wouldn't.
Mario Kart double dash looking.
Yeah, the only thing I've seen is that you can reanimate them in what's the
Stormlance.
No, the Special Marines that can mix their units. Why can't I think of it? It's one of the main factions.
Deathwatch.
Deathwatch. Because you can put a bike in the Deathwatch unit that you can put an apothecary in, and you can reanimate the bike. That's the only thing I've seen about them.
Stupid loopholes. If that's the
Yay.
only reason your model exists, it shouldn't exist.
Yeah.
So those are bad. Just rules-wise and, I guess they look fine. I mean, the double dash looking thing does not look fine.
And again, so these are models that came out 3.5 years ago?
Sure, but in Warhammer terms, they're not old. And they hold up. The problem is these were never cool.
No, they've never been cool.
Speaking of things that are new, you've got Jump Pack Intercessors.
And they're still not cool.
So here's the thing, we could joke about this being oh god, Jump Pack Intercessors didn't sell as well as we thought they would, but this box was made before the Intercessors came out.
Yeah.
This box has been in production for a year. Remember, these things have very long timelines.
Yeah.
So Games Workshop was like, people gonna love those Jump Pack Intercessors.
We're gonna put 15 in one box.
Even in Stormlands, which is where you can get permanent advance in charge.
Which is good.
Which is good.
Just not with chainswords.
They're very, well, again, they're very good at killing light infantry. and they're not the worst at killing other things by virtue of volume of attacks. And they are only 5 points more than normal assault intercessors, which is stupid for getting a jump back.
No, but here's the problem with that, is assault intercessors are also bad.
Assault intercessors are decent.
Regular intercessors are better.
They're also bad.
Well, I mean,
The problem is that all the general Marine infantry you don't take.
that's true.
You take Hellblasters or aggressors,
You take
basically.
Hellblasters, aggressors, eradicators, and then tanks.
But there is an argument to be made for just taking a unit or two of jump pack
Sure.
intercessors, because they are very fast. 12-inch movement and fly is good.
Yeah.
And that's something Marines don't really do well.
And they're jump packs, so they have deep strike.
Yes.
Also good. And they can get onto a point and probably clear any light stuff that'll be there.
Right. In the opening battle where it's their light infantry versus your light infantry, these guys have a decent chance of punching up. You don't need 15 of them.
That being said, why 15?
Good, yeah. So this one loses for... And also, by the way, the tactical rocks are stupid. They don't look dynamic. They look like they're in a ballet and doing the cha-cha slide.
Every single one of them has toe touch on one rock. It's like,
Seriously. It's the world's worst interpretive dance.
Yeah.
This box is bad. Now, number 5 is a box that GW didn't send us. There was a mix-up in the shipping. We didn't get... by the way, we both had the same opinion on the second worst box, too.
Yeah.
And this wounds me spiritually. It's the Cadian Defense Force.
fun.
So, the Cadian Defense Force box comes with 2 Rogaldorn tanks.
And then nothing else in the box matters.
Well, and a infantry unit and a infantry command squad. Sorry, Cadian infantry unit and a Cadian command squad, because there are 2 differences. It's worth $345, so only $15 more than Marines, but not the worst still.
Yep.
And it gives you 705 points, 560 of which are the Rogaldorns.
520. They're 260.
Oh, yeah, they went down to 260
went down to
from
260.
280, yeah.
So 520 points. And I mean, sure.
Oh, sorry, and it's 2 groups of Cadian infantry, not one. Sorry,
I wasn't
2,
sure because
2.
it's 20 of them, right?
Yeah, it's 20, so it's 2 groups of 10.
I don't have the box in front of me. I just reference it.
So this box is the funniest box by my mark.
Yeah, it's very funny.
Rogaldorns are good now.
Yes, Rogaldorns are good. They're cheap enough that they're good and usable.
Now that they've dropped to 260, they are still, a good chunk of change more expensive than even the most expensive Lehman Russ Demolisher.
Because all those went down too.
And it is hard to get them orders.
Yes.
But the reason the Rogaldorn is good is because it is a toughness 12, 16 wound monstrosity that gets to ignore 1 instance of damage every game.
It is by far tougher
Yes.
than a regular.
Toughness 12 can really ruin your opponent's day because now your last cannon's wounded on force.
Yep.
Oh, and if it does get through and it really doesn't want to take that hit, no, it didn't.
Silly you, that last cannon did nothing.
And I would say it's hard to get at orders, but everyone and their mum's running Lord Solar who can very easily order these things.
Yeah.
And the tank commander is no longer a travesty of points either.
True. So Josh, why, with all the positives that you just listed, why is this your 5th least favorite?
Because Rogaldorns are good, but you don't need 2 of them. And if you are like me and bought a Rogaldorn when they came out because it's an amazing looking kit,
You don't need 3 of them.
you really don't need 3 of them. Cadian shock troops are currently in a position where they're good. They're not as... Everyone's really running Krieg right now.
Yeah. Because they're the most survivable, and that's all they really care about.
Right, and that's what you care about with your infantry is get onto objectives and don't die for a bit. And Krieg are 10 points more, or is it 5 points more? They're more points, but they're better in that way.
Yeah.
And they can also take a Death Corps Marshal to give them a 5-up, feel no pain. Which
them
is
even more survivable.
Stupid. In a good way. But, yeah, it just feels like an afterthought, the infantry and the command
It's
squad.
like, we need a 6th one. What are we going to do? 2 tanks. Okay. 2 boxed infantry. We're done.
Yeah, it's just, the Rogaldorn is good. The Rogaldorn is hurt a little bit. Or rather, let me rephrase this. Armor skew is not necessarily the best idea right now.
Yeah.
Because everyone is really speccing into anti-armor.
Right. Because you need to be able to deal with armor, but if you have the thing that your opponent's dealing with, you lose.
Right. So having 2 Rogaldorn tanks in your list is... It doesn't give you a lot of board coverage, and they
For over a quarter of your list.
and they still only hit on 4s.
That's the worst part.
With orders, it's 3s, sure, And there's other synergies you can give them, but the more of those synergies you stack up, the more your points tick away. Guard is, unfortunately, the part of the problem with this is Guard is not in a great place right now in general.
Right.
Kind of a low-performing army. They're like at a 45% win rate, a little
Yeah.
lower. And part of the reason is because their stuff doesn't hit super hard anymore. The artillery nerf hit them very hard,
Oh, yeah.
which it needed to.
Yeah.
But even as a Guard player, this box, like, I would have liked to have one Rogaldorn
Yeah.
in this box, and then the other spot that could have been, I mean, an artillery piece.
True.
Or a,
Although not the one that came in the army box.
no,
one's
that's
bad.
not an artillery piece. That's an abomination. Or some sentinels, because everyone
Yeah.
needs sentinels.
Sentinels, that'd be good.
And I say this as somebody who has a lot of sentinels already.
That's true. Yeah, because those are new kits. They could have done that.
They're new kits, and they're very good in game still, even
Yeah.
after the points increase. So I will say that this is not a bad box.
Right.
It's a very funny and very skewed box, which is why it's rated lower for me, even as somebody who plays this faction.
That's fair.
But kind of like we talked about in our Age of Sigmar video, the fact we have to kind of find these nitpicks shows us that we have a pretty good crop of boxes this year.
Except for one.
Except for one, which we've already...
Yeah, which we've already been over.
Thank you, Marine players. Your sacrifice will be remembered. Number 4. What is your 4th box?
That would be the World Eaters.
But Mitchell, how could you say that? It has everything you need to get started in this faction. It's got 10 Khorne Berserkers.
Yep.
8 bound, or 6 8
6
bound.
8 bound.
6 8 bound. And Angron, the Primarch.
Yeah.
What's wrong with this?
Angron, the Primarch.
So this box is getting you about $355 worth of product, and about 915 points.
So it is the best points-wise, not the best price-wise, though.
Right, and most of those points and that price is in Angron.
Yeah. My issue is, it's perfectly fine for someone who's brand new to World Eaters. Perfectly fine. But if you already play World Eaters, you already have Angron.
I'm gonna slightly disagree there, even though this is also my number 4 because I think all the other boxes are better. Angron is $170. Not everyone who plays World Eaters has $170 Angron
Yes, they
kit.
do.
I will say that if you are looking into getting World Eaters, this is the best box out of this whole crop.
That's true. That is true. If you are fresh into World Eaters, it's a good box because 8-bound are great, Angron is required, and Berserkers are a mainstay.
See, I don't know if Angron is required. He's really good, but
There's one of their army rules is literally reanimate him.
I know.
So you just ignore that rule if you don't take him. So you take him.
That's a very fair point. Yeah, so the only downside to this box is that it's kind of like the Rogaldorn box.
Yeah.
A very skewed box. It's the Exalted of the Red Angel box, and boy howdy is it.
Is it the Red Angel?
Because it's mostly about him and just his mooks.
Now that being said, the combat patrol for World Eaters is a very good companion to this.
Yes, there is little redundancy there.
Yeah, which is awesome. Again, other than one box, we are having to find nitpicks. The fact that this one comes with a great model for a great deal is only a downside because if you have him, it's bad, and buying multiples is even bad.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's a great box. I just don't like that over half?
Yeah, about half.
About half of the price is one model, which lessens it a little bit for me.
Yeah. One good model, though.
One good model. Model of the year contender, definitely.
So, number 3.
Number 3, which I forget. Oh yeah,
Bugs.
hurts my buggy heart.
Yeah, so you are a Tyranids player.
I am a Tyranids
I'm
player.
an aspiring Tyranids player. I haven't assembled any of them yet.
Fair enough. This one is tied with Marines for the worst deal.
It's the Onslaught Swarm.
Onslaught Swarm. It has 2 units of Hormagaunts, 1 unit of Gene Stealers.
New ones.
The new Genes. These are all new models except for the Hive Tyrant, and the Norn Emissary
/ Assimilator.
/Assimilator.
The Hive Tyrant can be built as either the winged or footed version.
Or the Swarmlord.
Or the Swarmlord,
Which
the
is
named
great.
character, who is also good in game.
Yes, he is.
The Norns are great in game. The defensive one probably a little bit better because having a 4-up invuln with his stats is hilarious.
And if you're at the beginning of the game, you get to pick an objective and you get a 5-up Feel No Pain on it. Yeah.
Cha-ching.
Really hard to bring down.
The letdown here.
Yeah, those are the two reasons I like this box.
Yeah.
The Norn and the Hive Tyrant, because the Hive Tyrant's great. He has the captain thing where you can do a stratagem for free, or the Swarm Lord gets you an extra command point every turn.
Yeah.
Fantastic. Norn, big and new and terrifying and strong, and I like it. I don't like any of the infantry.
So, Gene Stealers are kind of not in a great place, although they are not as bad as people were thinking.
They are good in specific lists.
Yes.
Like, I found a Vanguard list that had 30. But outside of Vanguard, where they get advance and charge and all of the extra, like, deep strikey teleporty tricks, they're not great.
No. And they kind of require a Brood Lord
Yeah, which is not
to
in this
function,
box.
which is not in this box. Hormagaunts. The problem is that...
I guess it should be mentioned that there are also two Tyranid Swarms. Ripper Swarms in here. Because they come with the Hormagaunts.
Yes.
Yeah.
Termagants are... The problem with Hormagaunts is that Termagants are just so diddly darn efficient for what they do.
They are.
Hormagaunts get to move faster.
They are, yeah, speed 10, advance and charge. But when they get there, they don't do much.
No, what they do is clog. And I think I'm a little... It's funny, this is both our number 3 in this list.
But you like it better
I'm a
than
little
I
more
do.
positive on this box than you.
Yeah.
Because especially in the Onslaught Swarm, the Horde Swarm detachment, Hormagaunts are pretty spicy. You can pretty easily get them into charge range turn 1.
Oh, yeah.
And no, they're not great, but A, they will still give trouble to things like Imperial Guard or any other kind of screening infantry. And they're just enough wounds for their cost to be really annoying to deal with.
That's fair. They're actually similar to the jump pack intercessors.
Yes.
They are quick, they'll get on objectives and kill the small stuff and then die to the big stuff.
Yep, the difference is these are even cheaper for their number of wounds.
Even cheaper for the number of wounds, and in the right detachment they can be reanimated.
Yep, and they can move when they get shot.
They can move when they get shot, and that I agree with.
Hormagaunts are a tech piece,
Yes.
and like many tech pieces, they're very good in very specific spots. I like this box a lot because everything in here is good for redundancy. Like, even if you had one of the Norns, and it's $150 kit?
$115.
$115 kit. You could use this to get the other one.
Yep.
The Hive Tyrant can be built as one of 3 options.
Yep.
Gene Stealers are fine, but
Yep.
they can pull double purpose in another faction.
That's true. I that's what I hear.
And Hormagaunts are very playable.
Yep.
Everything in here is good. Nothing in here is bad, and it has a lot to it. That's why I like it.
I will say that it is a little bit scattered because it runs a Horde unit and an Invaders unit and monsters.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like the full suite. You kind of want to run it in one of the generic. What's the one from the index? I always forget the name.
Invasion Fleet.
Invasion Fleet. Invasion Fleet would not be terrible because they have to be able to reanimate the infantry and like all that stuff. But other than that, it's pretty spread out. It's not a bad box, and I'm glad they used all new models except for the Hive Tyrant, which is
He holds
still
up
fantastic.
It's very kind of funny though if you look at this is a segue or a side piece, but if you look at the Hive Tyrant and then you look at the Norn, man, it doesn't look like the Hive Tyrant's aged well.
Yeah,
But in real life, he looks better.
He does.
I think it's down to the paint job.
because they haven't repainted all the old stuff.
No, they're just using an old model.
Yeah.
Which is kind of funny.
Yeah, it is.
But anyway, I like this box quite a lot.
I like it a lot too, but not enough for me to get one.
That's fair.
I already have 2 Hive Tyrant kits. I do want the Norn. I don't need maximum Gene Stealers because I already have 2 units.
See, as somebody who has the only thing I have in this box is 1 Hive Tyrant.
Yeah.
That I could build as another option. I am actually really eyeing this box.
It is a pretty good box.
Because, yeah, I want a Norn badly.
Yeah, me too.
And so for me, this feels like paying $220 to get a Norn and a Hive Tyrant. And there's a bunch of little guys that I kind of use anyway thrown in.
Some little dudes.
Yeah. So it's my number 3. Which says a lot that I like this as much as I do, and it's only my number 3.
That's fair.
So far, Mitchell, we are drift compatible.
Yep. Number 6 through 4. Nope, through 3.
6 through 3, we are
6
drift
through 3.
compatible.
100%.
What's your number 2?
My number 2 is Votan.
We are no longer drift compatible.
Channel canceled.
We're gonna get killed by a kaiju. So this is your number 2.
My number 2.
Justify yourself.
Well, first of all, it's dwarves. And we all know how I feel about them.
If you don't, welcome to the channel. Mitchell hates dwarves.
Mitchell hates dwarves.
Grudge counter.
And second, there's not a whole lot of models in here.
No, but that's Leagues of Votann. You new here?
Well, okay. Similar to some of the other ones, if you have the faction already, this is not great. Because the faction has so few models in it
Yeah.
that it's difficult to go like, well, I already have 2 land fortresses, do I need a third one? Or I already bought my suite of Sagittars, that's going to be like an extra model I can't use. That's my main problem with it. Not actually that it's dwarves. That was only a joke. My main problem with it is it's not a lot of models, and the faction is so small in the first place that there could be a lot of redundancy in what you already have or are looking to get. But it's close.
Both valid points. I will say the one problem is everything you just said is a complaint about the Votann faction and its state in 40k right now.
Correct.
And all valid, and all things that Votann fans have said. So this is Defenders of the Ancestors. It comes with 1 Hecaton land fortress, 1 Suggy, as we call it, the Sagitar, 1 Einherjar Champion, 1 Grimnir, and 10 Einherjar Hearthguard.
Which are apparently the good thing right now.
So we called in our favor from our channel co-host, yeah, Cody.
Yeah.
He does all our thumbnails. Who is also a avid Leagues of Votann player. And as he pointed out, this box is a meta box.
Yep.
Everything in here is current top tier for dwarves.
Yeah.
Every competitive list spams the bejesus out of Einherjar Hearthguard. Land fortresses, many of them do take 2. Sagittars, many of them take 2 or 3. And then the Grimnir is good, and the Einherjar Champion is good.
Yeah.
So this box is the meta box.
It is.
And that is why it is my number 1.
And it is also the best 40k one price-wise at $385 retail.
Yeah.
And that is a very good deal. 155 bucks cheaper is pretty good.
750 points, sorry. Yeah, even though I don't like Votann too much, play style wise, really don't like them play style wise, and don't love them design wise, I wish they were still biker dwarfs from Mars, you know.
That would be great.
This box is a fantastic deal. It's a fantastic way to either, maybe you do play Votann, but you kind of fell behind because you didn't buy this stuff at launch, and now you are. Maybe you're getting into the faction, in which case this is fantastic.
Yeah.
So it's fantastic as both a supplement and a getting into the faction.
Sure.
It couples well with the army box.
True.
And the combat patrol.
Which is basically the army box.
Yeah. So it couples very well with both of those, which is kind of like we mentioned with the World Eaters, it is a big plus.
Yes.
So for me, this is my number 1.
That's fair.
But let's talk about your number 1 and my number 2.
Yes. Well, we gotta swap these again. Because this is my number 1.
So your number 2.
Yep.
And my number 1. Scratch that, reverse it. Your number 1 and my
Your
number
number
2 is the Orc box called the Beast Snagga Stampede.
Yep.
What's in the box?
So it has the White Squig rider himself, Mozrog Scrag Bad.
Great White Squig,
Great White Squig.
who can be built as a generic.
Yeah, it's the generic one. A Pain Boss with his little Pain Grat. Squig Hog Boys, 10 Beast Snaggas, and a Kill Rig. And the Kill Rig is just one of my favorite models in the whole faction.
Yes, so I will say, and kind of like our Age of Sigmar episode, these are so close.
They're very close.
Theme-wise, I'm kind of picking opposite what I did in Age of Sigmar.
Same, where I picked the one that had the highest, spoilers, the one that had the highest numbers. I'm swapping and picking these because it's the theme.
I don't play greenskins, and I actively kind of dislike them. That being said, if I was gonna play greenskins, the Beast Snagga boys are the greenskins I think are cool.
I agree.
Especially the flippin' shark squigs. Like, it's just such a...
Yeah.
And the kill rig is also just... It's so... I don't know how to describe it, but
it is so specifically 40k.
Yes.
Whereas, like, there are orcs across a bunch of things. Most of them are fantasy, but there's some, like, space orcs, Starfinder, all that stuff. But nothing is as 40k in my mind as orcs being orcs.
Right.
And I can say that as my very first faction was orcs. And I have since gotten rid of them. But I really, really like the Beast Snaggas.
Now, similar to the Leagues of Votann box, this is a meta box asterisks.
Yes.
Because if you're gonna play boys, you play Beast Negus. Squidcog boys
Or
borderline auto take.
Yeah.
Pain Boss borderline auto take. Great White Squig is your leader you take.
Yeah.
The only thing that's not fantabulous in this box is the kill rig. It's not super tough or damaging for its points, unfortunately.
Yeah.
That being said, it's kind of more like the Rogaldorn, where it is very playable.
Yeah.
Orcs are not a faction in a wonderful place anyway. True. But then again, neither are Lees or Votan.
Dollars wise, this is $365 in stuff, and points wise, it's 730 points.
So both pretty good.
Both pretty good. Not the highest in either, but pretty good.
No, but second place for money wise. And then points,
Yeah.
So yeah, this is a very tough choice for me. The only reason I'm going for Votan over Orcs is because it's just slightly the better deal and eminently usable.
Fair.
And neither of these factions are getting a book anytime soon.
Orcs is on the list for spring.
Is it spring?
It is spring.
Okay.
So after the two that have already been announced.
So late spring, early summer.
Yeah, definitely.
It's going to be a bit. And that means this is more of a proof box.
That's true.
Points can change.
Yeah.
But these things are likely to stay playable, whereas like Beast Nagus could go down the tubes as being the worst thing all of a sudden, which would really suck.
It
but
would,
I hope
because
that
they
doesn't
are
happen.
cool.
But either way, very close. Both amazing boxes to get started with. Again, if I was going to get a 40k orc box, it would be this one.
So we had five amazing 40k boxes.
And one really bad one.
With one exception, all of the boxes are great.
Yeah.
It was very hard to put them in a tiered list. We had to nitpick a few times. The points and the price that you're saving on these is always great for the Christmas boxes.
All of these are good for their respective factions.
Yep.
With the exception of the Marine box and kind of the Imperial Guard one, if you already are heavily into Imperial Guard.
Which is why they're the bottom two for us.
And then the World Eaters one is also a kind of, because if you have Angron already, that box sucks.
So that one is good, again, asterisk.
Right. Whereas everything else, the top three, I think, are great additions if you already play the faction or if you're getting started.
Agreed.
Are you getting any of these boxes?
I'm not. I've thought about a few of them, but I am not picking any up.
I'm eyeing the Tyranids one.
Yeah.
I'm even eyeing the Orc one.
Really?
Just for like a complete something different.
That's fair.
I don't think I'd start playing Orcs, but like just to paint
They
some
are-
of those
they are
guys,
different.
because they just look really cool. But we'll see what happens.
Yeah.
Speaking of seeing what happens, let us know below what you thought of our rankings.
Are we wrong and the Space Marines is the best one?
People have purchased them.
I know. For some reason.
Sound off if you're one of those people and justify your existence.
I'm going to buy 2 so that I can have 3 max units of jump pack intercessors.
For only $1 a day, you can help people like this. Join us, won't you? See you next time.